Bhagavatam? Where's the Bhagavatam? Where is the Bhagavatam? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunatera Vanachari. Jamunatera Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamunatera Vanachari. Jamunatera Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vasudeva Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya, Ashtotra Satat Systema, the Divine Grace is confound the Char, Shila Bhachan of the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Jaya Vasudeva Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya, Ashtotra Satat Systema, the Divine Grace, Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Si Kahav Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadara Si Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktavini Ki Jai. Si Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Samakunda Radha Kunda Giri Gabdhan Ki Jai. Savandavandam Ki Jai. Smayapanama Dibdam Ki Jai. Jagana Pradam Ki Jai. Gangamaya Manamaya Ki Jai. Simati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktabhin Ki Jai. Nitai Gur Premanandi. All glory to the summer devotees. All glory to the summer devotees. All glory to the summer devotees. All glories to Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasa Tato Jaya Mudhiraya Nastrapaye Sabhadisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavaiti Naistike. So today incidentally also is the appearance of Srivas Pandit, and I was requested by the strategist for the classes to speak something about Srivas Pandit. Is that okay? This chapter of the Bhagavatam is on the activities of Maharaj Priyawatra. So they are all activities of the Vedic system, and for us, the activities of Srivas Pandit, they're more relevant to our individual and collective devotional growth. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Etanama Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvise Satsunyavadi Pasatya Disatari Vancha Kalpatari Byacha Kripa Sanubhya Evacha Patitanam Jaya Jaya Si Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Deta Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda. So, Vaishnava historiography lays credence on Srinivas Pandit being an extension or an incarnation of Narada Muni. And this is delineated in the Gaur Ganodesha Deepika. So we find that the associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are part of his entourage. And wherever he's going to display his or manifest his pastimes, that entourage comes with him. And Srivas Pandit is one of those prominent angas of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is mentioned that Srivas actually appeared 30 years before Lord Chaitanya was born. And just like you have the president of a country, if he has to go to another place, to another country, or visit even another state, say the Prime Minister of India, if he has to visit some place, he has to send some people will have to go to investigate that area, how safe it is. It's a very common thing. And the Prime Minister of India wouldn't go to a place with any and anybody. He will go with his associates. So the Lord also, when he has to manifest his pastimes in a particular place, he comes along with his devotees. And sometimes some of the devotees have to be there before him to make some arrangements in preparation of his arrival. So Advaita Acharya and Srivas Pandit, Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions, were the great invokers of Lord Chaitanya to manifest on the planet. And Lord Chaitanya, basically, when he was manifest, Srivas Pandit and his wife, Malini Devi, they were like Lord Chaitanya's second mother. In fact, Malini has to debrief Sachi how to nurture, how to take care of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So imagine how great, how exalted Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra were or are. But here is someone, or here's a couple, who have to be like their guide, how to take care of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can understand the exalted position of Srivas Pandit. And, in the Prema Vilas, in the Bhakti Ratnakara, and even the writings of Vrindavan Das Thakur or Chaitanya Mangal, if you read these books, you really will appreciate the exalted position of Srivas Pandit. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Madhyam Leela how he will regularly host Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, his Sankirtan party. So there was a time that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was at the home of Srivas Pandit, and an incident happened. Even prior to that, there were a lot of things that had transpired. And one of such occasions was when Lord Chaitanya came into Srivas Pandit's home, and he queried him. So who is it? Who is it that you're worshiping? Who is the object of meditation? And keep in mind that when Lord Chaitanya was just a teenager, when he had acquired so much of information culture from learning, and it was becoming a little bit arrogant. Srivas Pandit had approached him in a dialogue and told him that, in a dialogue with him, he mentioned to him the essence of learning, that you are very learned. But what is the essence of this learning if you don't dedicate your life to the worship of Sri Hari, Lord Krishna? And what was his response? This is something that is very intriguing, in the sense that it's not just, we may take home as a lila for our purification, but
Look at, just examine the response from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He bursted out into laughter. He was laughing. And he told Srivas Pandit, by your mercy, I will get there. So imagine, you've been in the movement. You've been in the movement for how many years? Huh? 13. Okay, so both you're in the movement for 13 years, and you see one boy who just came in to the movement yesterday, and he comes to tell you, yeah, he comes to tell you he comes to give you an instruction. That was the scenario. Here, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srivas Pandit was coming to instruct. But after the instruction, after giving him that instruction, he didn't bar. He didn't get in. He was not angry. He didn't rebuke him and say, hey, what the hell you think you are? You don't know I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What right have you to come and instruct me? No, he didn't say that. He busted up laughing, and he said, he prayed to him, by your mercy, I pray that you bless me to be able to get to that position. I was just told that today is also the disappearance of Sridhar Swami Maharaj. Is that correct? Okay. So we have a lot of, today is a very auspicious day. And so here is a good lesson for us. When we are in the movement for some days or for some years, we feel we know everything. No one should tell us anything. Either my way or the highway. Because I've been there for 30 years. Because I've been there 30 years before you, Who are you to come and tell me anything? I'm a Swami. Huh? So each time you see me, you're supposed to just pay obeisances to me, and you're not doing that. You want to instruct me. Yeah? Isn't it? We think we are to be worshipped. But look at the position of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Huh? A jiva coming to instruct him. He took it kindly. In other words, because learning does not get to any point of saturation. Saturation in learning means I know everything. No, I don't need to know anything anymore. But as a matter of fact, even according to the psychology of learning, each time we learn something, even something we have heard before, even something we have read before, take for instance, you read Bhagavad Gita, you read a sloka in the Bhagavad Gita, or you read a sloka in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or in the Bhagavatam. And after some days, you go back to read that very sloka, you learn something new. So there is no saturation of spiritual knowledge as far as bhakti is concerned. So Lord Chaitanya took a very humble position and was submissive to Shiva's Pandit. And he did him, prayed to him to bless him so that he could become a devotee. And as he was growing up, when he started his mission, he was regularly with his devotees at the home of Srivas Pandit. And then one day, so back to the point, one day he just came to Srivas Pandit and said, so you tell me, who is your object of worship? What is your object of meditation? Whom are you worshiping? And he just went into the puja room and sat on the asana of Lord Vishnu. And there, Lord Chaitanya displayed to him all of his features as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we could say, well, Shiva's Pandit, he's an associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, it's used to that. But the Lord's mercy is available even now. He showed Shiva's Pandit his mercy, but that mercy is also valuable even now, and that mercy could be manifested to anybody who is dedicated to the service or to devotional service of Lord Krishna in any form. And so, when Lord Chaitanya displayed these qualities, his manifested form, not only did he stop there, there was, when he goes to Siva's house, someone always fetched some water for his bathing. And so he asked Siva, who is he that fetches this water? And Siva mentions, oh, is my maidservant, Duki. And he said, what? Duki? Duki means sad. So there and then, Lord Chaitanya completely reversed Duki's name to what? Suki. Again, our slogan has been chant and be what? Be sad? Chant and be happy. Yeah, that's our slogan. And Lord Chaitanya displayed all of these manifestations just to reaffirm and confirm that very principle of happiness being an integral aspect of devotional cultivation. So he changed Duki's name to Suki. He said, a devotee cannot be Duki. She's rendering service, so he should be Suki. So if we're rendering service, if even we are on a deathbed, we should be internalizing, reminiscing the happiness that is associated with devotional service. So it's so easy, for us to come every morning to Mangarati, come to Guru Puja, and then, we do wonderful worship. We hear wonderful classes. But the devotional service or devotional culture is an examination hall. Some people may not experience that type of exposition, like Lord Chaitanya would just come and say, oh, come on. This name should be changed to Suki. Or even on the same occasion, on the same day, he asked, little girl in the house of Shiva's Pandit, Narayani, 4 years old at that time. He said, chant Krishna's name and let tears glide down right in your eyes. And she chanted Krishna's name. Hari, Krishna, and she was in ecstasy. When we chant Krishna's name, are we in ecstasy? I'm in ecstasy when I chant Krishna's name. Raise up your hand. You have tears gliding down. We have a long way to go. Let's accept that we have a long way to go. But the way is not so long. It could also be made very abridged. So don't be disappointed. Wow, we have a long way to go? No. We can also get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And how to get that mercy is by following what our spiritual master, instructions our spiritual master has given to us. It looks like it's very simple. But here, Lord Chaitanya is acting as a Siksha and as a Diksha Guru to a little girl, 4 years old. So who says that, you have to get to 18 years before you take initiation? Or who says that you have to get to 18 as an international standard of an adult or young adult before you become independent to chant Krishna's names. Lord Chaitanya even instructed 4 years old. And even the animals, Lord Chaitanya made them to chant Krishna's names when he passed through the Jharkhand forest. So talking about Srivas Pandit, he was one of those blessed, highly blessed souls. But we see his background, where he's coming from. He's no one other than Narada Muni. In the Trilokya Upanishad, Lord Brahma himself mentioned that Narada Muni is the best of his sons. He said Narada Muni is the best of his sons. Why? Because Narada, he will travel to all nooks and crannies, to all universes, to deliver people from the onslaught of birth and death. So this is the background of Srivas Pandit. What is the lesson for this? What is the lesson for us? We don't know who amongst you, and we don't know your backgrounds. We don't know anybody's background here. And what we can only do is to take a cue that the entourage of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are so many people coming from different backgrounds. And even in ISKCON, there are so many people coming from different backgrounds. And all that we need to do is to treat each and every one with proper respect and honor, coupled with genuine love. Because we don't know where anyone is coming from. So, just like Srivas Thakur and his whole household, they got blessed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We can also be blessed in amazing ways if we are ready to follow in the footsteps of Srivas Pandit. It is mentioned that the Goswamis, they wrote the literatures. Srivas Pandit distributed the message. So we may not be, big scholars to write or whatever. But what about distributing the message like Srivas Pandit? And that is why Srila Prabhupada has set up a new system to be able to follow in the footsteps of Srivas Pandit to distribute Krishna's message. And it doesn't mean that it is just some few people who are living in the temple who have to do it. Srivas was not living in the temple. Was he living? Which ashram was he living? Which temple? He was not living in the temple. He was living in his house. But he was the greatest preacher. So you can also be in your house and be the greatest preacher. Why not? Help in disseminating the message like Srivas Pandit did. He was not living in an ashram. He had a family. Sometimes, we tend to think that, well, I'm not living in the ashram, the preaching is meant for those brahmacharis there. No, preaching is meant for everybody. In fact, the great associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I look at the whole of the Panchatattvas. None of them was living in the temple. None of them was a brahmachari living in the temple. Is there one of them who was living in the temple as a brahmachari? But they were the greatest of the preachers. They were the greatest of the preachers. Does it make any sense to us? Sometimes, we hear about each day of the appearance of the Acharya. We read the books, read the pastimes over. Yes, it's good for our purification, but sometimes also it's good to really look at the background to see what we can learn from these personalities. And that's exactly what we are trying to do here. The stories or the leelas of the Vaishnava literature, They are very good, they're very highly purifying. But an intelligent person should think, what am I going to go home with? Basically, in knowledge, in acquiring knowledge, we have what is called the breadth. If we read a book and repeat that, it's recommended by even Prabhupada that we should simply repeat what we have heard from the acharyas. But if we go beyond that to correlate what other pandits, what other acharyas have said relating to that text, say you read about Krishna being the supreme personality of God. Krishna declared in the Bhagavad Gita, he is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Bhukta, Jagya. If he's the enjoyer of all sacrifice, you hear one acharya makes a comment on that verse. That's why we have all of these different acharyas. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Narahari. So when you read also their commentaries in relationship to what Krishna has said, that is called the depth of that knowledge acquisition. Now, when you take something out of what they have commented on, or what even Krishna has said, and apply it to your life, that is called the application. That is when you have transformation, when you have real purification, because you've applied it. I mean, it's like you have a theory, and you have to use that. The theory is just a framework. You have to use that framework to be able to create a scenario for helping out yourself or helping out others. And so this is the basic essence of the Vaishnava literatures. And therefore, Narahari, he mentions, he even renders so much of adoration and prayers to Srinivas. And therefore we find that the worship of Srinivas is so important to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, Krishna mentions in the Padma Purana that those who claim to be his devotees are not his devotees, but those who are servants of his devotees, he holds them very dear. Is that correct? So Srivas Pandit is someone that is a soul, a great personality that we should all try to reflect of the purpose of his appearance, to come to facilitate the dissemination of Krishna consciousness. Because Rupa Goswami did the writings, Jiva, they did all of these writings, Sanatan, they did all of these writings. But he was one of those staunch preachers of the time. Lord Chaitanya wanted his movement to be spread in all towns and villages. So here, especially in India, you're very lucky. We have to travel from one continent to another continent to be able to come to the Dham. Sometimes I ask people living in Delhi, when was the last time you went to Vrindavan? I ask my friends. And they say, oh, last year. You wait for 1 year before you go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is just, at your backyard here. And people have to come, from other continents. Sometimes some devotees, they come here twice in a year. They come during the Kartik, they come during the Gora Purnima. So my point is, take advantage of what you have. They say a cow does not know the use of its tail. The tail of a cow is very, very important to the cow. But the cow does not know that it is very important to him. How he gets to know is when the tail, either by accident or whatever, either by commission or omission, the tail is no longer there. Maybe in an accident, someone caught the tail. Then he doesn't have the tail to wag off the flies. Then the cow knows the value of his tail. I think most of you don't know the value of freedom, or even of why you are born here. Because what you have, you don't value it. If you want to, if you don't have a limousine, for instance, huh? You will work so hard to get it. But as soon as you have the limousine, it's nothing to you. So we should also we should imbibe that culture of seeing a renewal in our spiritual life every day. The nocturnal kirtans performed by Lord Chaitanya is meant to reinforce our spiritual culture, that devotional service should be an everyday reality of improvements. Otherwise, Lord Chaitanya could just, he's the supreme personality of Godhead. He could just, anytime he wants. But no, he did it. He had nocturnal kirtans almost every night. And therefore, great souls like Sivas Pandit, they help to realign us to the Vaishnava Parampara system. Because these are the practical examples. Otherwise, the whole scriptures, the teachings could be very abstract for us. But there are, Chaitanya Charitamrita is the postgraduate study. If you, for instance, you do a PhD, then you go for your postdoc. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is like the postdoc studies in the Vaishnava education. Because you see the practical lives of these personalities, these bhaktas, who are displaying that ecstasy, that devotional ecstasy. So Srivas Pandit is one of those very associates of the Lord that we can learn from, because he was a preacher. We are trying to be preachers, isn't it? And the preaching should not be based on what I'm going to get from this, what type of reputation I'm going to get from this. No. Whatever we have been asked to do, we should think that is our priority. We don't preach because we want to become worshipable in the future. I mean, I don't want to call it temple. There was one, there was one temple, one new devotee joined. This was in the West. And then he saw the pujari was carrying some plates covered. So he asked, he didn't know anything about what goes on in the temple. So he asked that, who is that person? Where is he going? He asked one of the devotees. He said, oh, that is a pujari. He's taking the boga to the altar for offering to the deities. So he knows about boga, means, food. So his next question was, so how long will someone be in this movement before he becomes a deity? We are laughing, but, sometimes we also come and then we serve so strong, so powerfully. But, with the idea or at the back of our mind, we are thinking, when will I become worshipable? But look at the life of Srivas. He was a very simple person. He took care of his family. And in fact, when Lord Chaitanya was in his home, at one time, his son passed away. Imagine, you are associated with a very great personality. He came to your house, your son passed away. What will you do first? Immediately you run to him and beg at his lotus feet. Maharaj, my son has passed away. Do something about it. Isn't it? Did he do that, Srivas Pandit? No. In fact, he consoled his family members. Hey, don't cry to disturb the Lord. He's engaged in his pastimes. He was superlatively detached and a living example of detachment. To preach is very easy. When we have a problem, that's when we know our standard, our attachment to Krishna. If we don't have a problem, we can't really determine where we belong. So look at the life of Srivas Pandit. His son passed away. But he was hiding it. He was hiding it from Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya was right there at his home. But then he got to know anyway. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the point here is, yes, we may have challenges even if we are so close to the Lord. Let's get these points clear. We may have challenges if even we are so close to the Lord. But our devotion should nurture our determination and understanding that the Lord will not abandon us. Although he refused to tell Lord Chaitanya, but Lord Chaitanya got to know about it anyway. And Lord Chaitanya eventually did the needful. And so there are a lot of things that we can learn from the life of Srivas Pandit. His sense of detachment, his sense of affection and attachment to the Lord. And he never allowed any external thing to be between himself and the worship of the Lord. Never. Sometimes we have a little problem and we feel nobody loves us in this devotional community. Let me just go. Yeah? So there are a lot of things we can learn from these great acharyas. When we are reading their Leelas, we should read the Leelas with absorption. Rupa Goswami says we should scrutinizingly, but we should even go beyond scrutinizingly studying the scriptures. We should do it with proper devotion and dedication and try to acquire some realizations in those texts. Realizations means we got something and we apply it to our life and we have a living effect. We have the lived experience. So devotional service could be very amazing. It is very amazing. But it doesn't mean that we will not face challenges. If Srivas, who was so close to Lord Chaitanya, he had challenges, his son passed away. And what about us? We will not have any challenges? Why not? That's why I mentioned in the beginning that the whole of the material arena, and for us involved trying to become devotees, it is a testing ground. It is an examination hall. Srivas Pandit, he passed the exam. He got A+. Oh yeah. He was not depressed because his son passed away. His son passing away did not check him even a dime. Did not check his devotion even a dime. We cannot be that strong, but by hearing these amazing pastimes, we should be able to have a culture of determination, a culture of love and service to the Lord. In other words, the activities of Srivas Pandit surpass that or those of ordinary beings, surpass those of kings, surpass those of emperors. But he was just a simple person. His qualification was that he was a dedicated devotee of the Lord. And therefore the challenges come and he was undaunted. But this is different from Mother Kunti, who was praying for challenges to come. The challenge that Srivas Pandit had or encountered, it just came from nowhere. He didn't beg for it. Krishna arranged it, and he passed the exams. He was tested, and he passed the exams. Mother Kunti was praying, give me more trouble. What do you want? You want to become Mother Kunti? You in the mood of Mother Kunti? Or I want to... Yeah. I remember I think I was giving a talk somewhere and I was giving a reference about this temple. Some of you may not know. But there was one devotee, I won't mention his name, my friend. At that time he was in college. Now he's finished his master's and he's working overseas. So at that time he was in college in Delhi. So he was leading some, college group. He would take them for our yatra. So he wrote to me one time, and he said that, for that very yatra, he didn't want to go, but he has all of these students that he's supposed to go with, and he didn't know what to tell them. That was in Delhi here. He didn't know what to tell them, so he came to Sri Radha Parthasarthi and prayed to him, or prayed to their lordship that, my lordships, please do something about it. I don't want to go to this yatra. I don't know what to tell these devotees, That was his prayer. Guess what happened? In few days, he had a terrible accident. In few days, he had a terrible accident that all of his students, no one could come and tell him that, let's go for yatra, because he had an accident. Everybody could see that. He can't go anywhere. He couldn't go anywhere. So, Srivas did not pray for troubles to come. The troubles, when we are born, troubles are also there. They come. Just like happiness, distress also is there. It comes at the appropriate time. So this happened, that lila happened right here in this temple. So we should try to be in the mood of Srivas Thakur, be ready to face the challenges as they come, but be dependent on the mercy of the Lord. The Lord will do the needful to rescue us. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Applications of the Vaishnava teachings, Acharya's lives, in our own personal life, matters much, and they expedite our spiritual revolution and our spiritual growth. So we have something to go home to chew about the life of Srivas Pandit. Any comments or questions? Yes. Huh? Siddha Swami? Look at our time. I came from America. At least people have known that it's a disappearance, so we should pray to him for his blessings. As devotees, or people trying to be devotees, as we are trying to be devotees, we don't become great by our power. We become great by following the great acharyas, by being subservient, by serving the devotees of the Lord, by praying to the devotees of the Lord, especially their appearances and their disappearance days. This is our culture. It's a culture of soul dependency on the mercy of Krishna, dependency on the mercy of the acharyas, dependency on the mercy of all the devotees around us. It's 9 o'clock. Sri Srivas Pandit ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.